When Sayyidina Imam Bishar Hafi rahmatullah alayh, the great bishop, great role model for mankind, who was a Gnostic and Arif Billah. Sayyidina Bishar had a dream and the Messenger of Allah came. And the Messenger of Allah said, Bishar, do you know how Allah has elevated you to be the greatest amongst your time? Even, I remember Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was in his time. You know who Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was? He was renowned as the Imam of Ahlul Sunnah. He was given that title. And his son said, my father memorized 1 million hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullah alayh, who was a student of Imam Bishar Hafi, contemporary, all these Bishar Hafi superseded. When the Prophet of Allah Almighty sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked in Bishar Hafi's dream, Bishar, do you know how Allah has given you? He said, only you know best and Allah knows best. Allah and His Prophet know best how He's given me this maqam. And Allah Almighty's beloved Prophet said, it's because you love my sunnah. You follow every single sunnah of mine. And because of that, you have become the leader of all these people. You're the leader of the awliya, the friends of Allah Almighty. This is the great Bishar Hafi, who used to drink. He used to drink and go into gatherings where drinking was common amongst his boys and friends. One night Bishar Hafi was drunk walking home. And Sayyidina Bishar radiallahu anhu, whilst drunk, was walking home and they seen a paper with the name of Allah written on it. And Sayyidina Bishar Hafi looked at the paper and whilst they were drunk, and they said, look, the name of Allah shouldn't be on the floor. How can such the greatest and most powerful and highest name be in my feet? Sayyidina Bishar took the name and they took some perfume and they perfumed the name. They put it on a high place in their home. That night they had a dream. And in their dream a voice came and said, Bishar, today you've cleaned my name. You've put my name very high. Tomorrow we will purify and clean your name and give it high maqam. When Sayyidina Bishar woke up, his life was transformed. He didn't used to wear feet, nothing on his feet. That's why he was called Al-Hafi. Hafi means the barefooted one. Bishar Al-Hafi. Bishar Hafi was the one who was Bishar, the barefooted one. That's what he was known by. You know why he was barefooted? When he was asked, he says, I respect this land. This is the creation of Allah. Out of adab, I don't wear my slippers on this. And you know, Allah Almighty loved this so much that when he used to walk, wherever he walked, out of honor and respect, no animal urinated anywhere, Bishar Hafi rahmatullah alayhi would walk. Out of respect. The dogs of Baghdad would go outside and urinate. As long as Bishar is here, we will never urinate where Bishar will walk. How can the feet of the great Bishar go into those places? This is when Allah loves His people. He gives them this maqam. Bishar Hafi rahmatullah alayhi, such a maqam Allah Almighty gave him, that he memorized the books of hadith, all of them, by heart, by memory. And they go that they were, you know, they have date baskets, very big ones, in the Arab world, where they collect dates and put them inside. They said he had 17 date baskets of the hadith, books of hadith of the muhaddithin of the past. He memorized every one of them and buried them, by heart. And Bishar Hafi used to teach jinns. Jinns would come to his house and he used to teach them. When Sayyidina Bishar Hafi rahmatullah alayhi passed away, the funeral prayer occurred. It is narrated that so many people came to his funeral prayer, Bishar Hafi's. So many people, that it took an entire day to carry his body from his house till the graveyard. An entire day, that's how many people turned. People go, we were walking past his house, and we could hear crying noises. You know what a matam is? When people come to moan and do Fatiha. There were people crying in his house. We could hear these noises. When we went to look in there, there was nobody there. And one of the neighbors said, Bishar Hafi used to teach the jinns. And his jinn students are crying that their ustaz has passed away. Ali Madini rahimahullah, contemporary Imam Ahmad, Ali al-Madini rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he began to scream at the funeral of Bishar Hafi and said, Bishar, look at your maqam. Look what Allah has given you. Allah has given you such a maqam today, such a rank today. that He has elevated your name so high today. Look how many people have come. Bishar, what's going to be your maqam on Qiyamah? Where will you be on the day of judgment? Allahu Akbar. One man once had a dream. Imam Zahabi narrates this in his Siyar. He had a dream, and in this dream, he seen three people. There was one person standing at the door of Jannah, and he was welcoming people in and telling people to stay out. There was one man who was standing in the middle of Jannah, and he was looking towards the throne of Allah Almighty. And there was one who was sat next to the throne, and he was eating loads of food. This is in Jannah. And they said, you know who the one who was standing at the gate of Jannah? It was Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Imam Ahmad was saying, you are from the Ahlul Sunnah, you are from Ahlul Bid'ah. You can go to paradise, you go to hell. Imam Ahmad was there giving permission for people to enter. You know who was standing in the middle of Jannah and looking towards the throne? It was the great Ma'ruf al-Karhi, rahimahullah ta'ala. Hazrat Ma'ruf al-Karhi, great Gnostic, Sufi, Arif Billah, great man of Allah Almighty. This man, Ma'ruf al-Karhi, he used to have a dukan, a shop. And it was on the high street of Baghdad. And this man, Ma'ruf al-Karhi, around him all the shops had burned and his shop was standing. Sayyidina Ma'ruf said, Alhamdulillah, my shop was saved. Later he regretted that he said, Alhamdulillah, that his shop was saved and everyone else was burnt. Imam Ma'ruf al-Karhi for 40 years did tawbah. 40 years he repented to Allah and said, oh Allah, how could it be that Ma'ruf thanked you that he was saved and everyone else's shops were destroyed? This is against the adab, against the feelings of humanity, that he feels good for himself or not for his brother. Sayyidina Ma'ruf said, for 40 years I did tawbah to Allah for why I said Alhamdulillah. Ma'ruf Karhi was standing in Jannah doing the didar of the throne of Allah Almighty. And when we got to next to the arsh of Allah, there was a man sat there with the dastar khan, and there was heavenly food, and angels were feeding him. And they said this was Bishar Hafi rahmatullah alayhi. Angels were feeding Bishar Hafi in Jannatul Firdaus. Can you imagine the maqam of the great Bishar alayhi rahmatullah on the day of judgment? How his maqam will be. But look at Bishar's story, how he started. Look what he used to be, and look what Allah Almighty made the great Bishar. What Allah Almighty made this great man of Allah an example for me and you, that we can change. We can become like these men of Allah Almighty if we struggle and strive hard against our desires and egos, and we strive hard against shaitan and the enemies out there, and we adopt the sunnah. What made Bishar so great was because he was a true devout muttabi'. He did ittiba' of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.